Hello, everybody. Happy whatever day it is. Welcome to my live. It's been a minute since I've been on live, and if you just noticed, the edge immersion is not going on. Just noticed that link coming up in the comments here on this live, and if you're watching the replay over on YouTube, you don't need to worry about that. But yeah, so welcome to my live. The theme today is reclamation, and this has actually been something that I have been in a season of myself, and something that I've been being called to express more to all of you and to share, and admittedly have ignored a little bit. So after some conversations earlier, I decided that what better time than now to start. So I'm actually not just starting this reclamation, but it's actually been something that I've been in for a while, a season of my life, my business, my relationship, and I think that a lot of you are in similar places, and for a while I was kind of waiting till I had it all figured out, until I had gotten, to the other side of having everything perfect and curated and, all blah, 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 all the boxes ticked, and recognize that often for me isn't the thing that works best for multiple reasons. But I also just wanted to come on and share, because I think that it's really valuable when people actually share when they're in the midst of something. And I'm not saying from dramatic, oh, life is so hard, because that's not what I'm saying. But for myself, I've been in this business for a while, about 7 years. I've had other businesses for longer and before that as well. And the last few years have really caused me to have to really look at my priorities, look at where I was putting things, people, whatever, outside of me on a pedestal, and where I was really not in my power in multiple areas of my life. So on the outside, it looked like things were going good. I was making good money in my business. Life was good. We were traveling. We were doing a lot of the things. We were doing a lot of the things that we really wanted to. And to be honest, I started to experience some of the best times that I had ever experienced in terms of finances and my business and ease. And I was just like, okay, this is it. I've arrived. Holy shit. And what I found was that I would go into these old patterns of going from okay, this was easy. I made so much money. I made more in a year or in a month than I had made in a year in my last job. And I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to recreate that, trying to get everything perfect, cross all my I's, dot all my I's, cross all my T's. And, I recognize that that's just not how it works. And to be honest, I was not ready for the kind of ease that I had experienced, which sounds really weird, right? Because it's you want this amazing life, you want to make money, you want to have more time to do the things that you want, but when it doesn't actually feel familiar in your body, when it isn't something that's been normalized for you, your body, your mind, it starts to reject it, even though it's something that you want. And this was a big learning for me, and has been something that really kind of knocked me down, and taught me so much. And it has caused me to have to look at my money, to look at my relationships, not just my marriage, but that is one part of it, to look at the priorities in my life, in my business, and to just look at the way I had built things, and what it was that I was actually going towards, and why it wasn't working the way that I had wanted to. And a lot of the women and people. I'll say people because I don't only work with women. Most of the people that I work with and that I talk to happen to be women. But, most of the people that I work with are very similar to me. And, we all go through seasons, and I believe that, and we're never going to just arrive at the end. And, life can be a series of trial and error and learnings. And for me, when things didn't work out the way I wanted them to or expected to, it kind of knocked me down, and I felt like I had lost control. But what it actually made me start to recognize was where I was gripping on so so hard to controlling things, to controlling outcomes, and trying to manufacture the ease, which then in turn made things not easy anymore. And it just was this loop where I spent a really long time just trying to be perfect, trying to do everything right. And in that journey, I also started to, really learn about myself. And, that's where the little title that I typed in here in the brief description was about reclamation. And this really has been a journey of reclaiming all areas of my life, my work, my money, but really about myself, and for you, about yourself. Because at the end of the day, what so many of you want is freedom, is ease, and we build these businesses, we build these careers, we try to build our lives in a way that gives us the thing that we want. But in doing so, we're holding on to control so fucking tightly, trying to figure it out, that you're actually negating the exact thing that you're trying to create. And it's not possible. It's just not. It's not possible to have the type of ease, the flow, the types of things that I've experienced multiple times, and that many of you probably have as well. But it's not possible to sustain that from the old paradigm, from that old identity, that old version of you. And that was what was happening because I had not shifted myself into that state where I had normalized these things. So when I got everything that I thought I wanted, well, everything that I did want, it didn't feel the way I wanted to. It felt hard. It felt unnatural. And I spent a lot of time coming back from that. And that's where, like I said, that's where I am at this point today. And not where I am just starting out. This is something I've been working on for a while. And a big part of the reason why I hadn't shared this was because it went against a lot of the things that I had been taught, that other people had said, and what I thought was right. And I was making myself wrong because I was feeling this desire to really share the real, authentic side of what it looks like when you think that everything is working out the way that you want and then it doesn't. And I think that it is important for us as leaders to share those stories. And I had been feeling this for a long time. And I was having conversations behind the scenes with people, but, outwardly I was still keeping up the performance ultimately in many ways and not talking about some of my own personal experiences because I didn't want it to impact my business. I didn't want to say something that made people question my, authority or whatever. But really, what I do best is inviting people along on the journey, and I know that, and I've proven that to myself time and time again. So again, I was just feeling really called to share a little video, and I've actually been doing recordings multiple times in the last couple weeks. I actually had committed to myself to 21 days of using my voice because in this process I had really started to kind of lose my voice, and not from a laryngitis standpoint, although that did happen at one point, but where I had been so I don't know the word, but so influenced by people and things and words and advice outside of myself that I started to pull back and not really share. And when I was sharing a lot of the things that I thought that I needed to say in order for people to buy from me, in order for people to find me, whatever. And so I made a commitment to myself to show up and use my voice, whether it's loud little motorcycle back there. It's still really loud, even a ways away. Okay, so so I had made this commitment to myself. So whether I was going live, whether it's on my YouTube channel, which there has been some stuff posted over there as well, whether it was just a voice note to myself, was that I was going to commit to this, because whether it was a voice memo for myself, whether it was one for all of you to share publicly, whether it was live, whether it was a recording, it was really about, again, that reclamation of my voice, of my power, of recognizing how important the things that I have to say are, and that not from an egotistical perspective, but just a really like recognizing that it can be easy. Success can be easy, but it can't be easy when you are constantly trying to perform as someone or something that is not you. It can't work the way that you want to when you're constantly on and trying to make things work, to try to appear a certain way, to try to do things a certain way, to be who you think that you're supposed to be rather than who you actually are at your fucking core. So, again, just really felt the pull to come on and share a little bit of my story with you all. And if you're live, I don't know, Facebook is being weird. So if you're live, I don't know, watching, but give me a little hello. I'm live and I will see that later. If you are watching the replay, give me a hashtag replay. If you're over on YouTube, drop a little emoji or something in the comments, and just let me know that you're here. If you are in this journey yourself, also let me know, because I'm going to have some stuff coming up too for those of you that are on this reclamation journey. And whether you're like on the tail end of it like me, or if you're just beginning, reclaiming your power, your voice, yourself, that is the ticket to everything that you want. I promise you, it is the ticket to the life you want, to the ease, to the overflow, to the relationships, to the freedom, to the flexibility, the white space on your calendar. It all begins with you. And I guarantee that 100%. And I dare you to challenge me. So anyway, drop your comments, drop your stuff, and feel free, if you're in the midst of this, to send me a message and just tell me what's going on. No pressure, no pitch. Just really love to hear other people's stories in terms of what's been happening for you. So thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, whether it's here on YouTube or somewhere else. Bye.